Hello, everybody. Today we're here. We're ending it up. First, I would like to show off a very cool item I have now. It is a 3D printed deck box. It is one of the containers from Union Hanger. Um, Very nice. Very cool, and I'm really glad that I got it. I think it's worth showing off. I'm going to quickly show it off at the beginning, and now we can get into the deck profile as per usual. Combos at the end. Um, Very cool. You see that it has a place to place the dice, and of course, your deck will go inside. I'm going to explain the cards as per normal. Hopefully, you guys enjoy. This deck will be quite cheap, although there is one expensive card in it, and when we get to it, I will talk about it. This main deck, there we go. Let's start off with our main deck. Bring 3 copies of Refrain, the Melodious Monster. On normal summon or special summon, you can add a Melodious Monster from deck to hand, and if it's in the face of extra deck, when you fusion summon a monster, you can place it in your scale. And then as a scale, you can target a Melodious Monster on field, and then send a Melodious from deck to graveyard to boost the monster's attack by the level of the monster's attack. Your target for the add is 1 copy of Couplet, the Melodious songstress. She's a scale 9. When she's added to hand, you can reveal her and then quest summon the Melodious from your hand to graveyard. And then in Pendulum Scale, if you control no monsters or all monsters you control are Melodious, she adds a Melodious spell card from your deck to hand. This same condition as Refrain, where she's in extra deck and you summon a fusion monster, a Melodious fusion monster. She can place herself in the scale, and she will lock you into light monsters if you were to find Pendulum Summon. Playing 3 copies of Ostinato. The card just lets you fusion summon a Melodious by sending the materials from deck to graveyard, and you have to control no monsters to activate it. During the end phase, you'll destroy the monster summoned and set the materials from graveyard to the field. I'm playing 1 copy of Melodious Concerta, which lets you perform a fusion summon of a fairy monster, and if you are summoning a Melodious, you can use monsters in your Pendulum Scale as materials. And we will now move on to our Supreme King set. We're playing 3 copies of Supreme King Dragon Darkling. On normal summon, or special summon, he adds a Magician's Gate from your deck to your hand. You can summon himself from the graveyard if you control no monsters. And then as a pendulum effect, you can place the Supreme King Gate in your other pendulum zone, but you cannot special summon, or cannot pendulum summon non-dark during the turn you activate that effect. And the card you're going to be searching is going to be one of your 3 copies of Supreme King Gate Magician. This is the heart and soul of the deck, and it's probably the best monster in it. First of all, if you have a Supreme King Gate in your pendulum zone, you can summon it from your hand by sending a Starving Venom, a Fusion Dragon, Pendulum Dragon, a Siege Dragon, or Synchro Dragon from your extra deck or hand to the graveyard. And if it is normal or special summon, you can add a card that mentions Supreme King ZARC from your deck to your hand. And then finally, in the Pendulum Scale, it can destroy itself to place a Supreme King Gate. Playing 1 copy of the Supreme King Gate 0, scale 0, and it can do pretty much nothing. It doesn't actually have an effect, really. The important part about it is that it can name, and it's a scale 0. Playing 2 copies of Supreme King Dragon Lightworm. This card has a lot of effects, but the most important is the fact that when it's normal or special summon, you can add from your X deck to your hand with Supreme King Dragon, a Supreme King Gate Pendulum monster. And then you can Then you can synchro or C summon the Supreme King Dragon monster using like cards you control. And then if this card is destroyed while face up, if a pendulum monster is destroyed while this card is in your X deck, you can add it to your hand. This pendulum effect is if a monster is special summoned and you control Supreme King ZARC, you can then summon this card basically from your pendulum zone and then perform a synchro summon while changing the levels, because you can add a card from X deck to hand and then use the other effect as synchro. Playing 3 copies of Wings of Light, this card lets you add a Supreme King Dragon or Supreme King Gate Pendulum monster from your hand. If you control ZARC, you can summon it from deck. Playing 1 copy of Soul of the Supreme King, this card requires you to pay half your life points and special summons a Supreme King Dragon to ZARC from extra deck, ignoring its summoning condition. However, its effects are negated, and it will return to extra deck during the end phase of the next turn. When your opponent activates a spell card, you can banish this card from your graveyard, and then one Supreme King Dragon ZARC from your field. You summon one of each Pendulum Dragon, Synchro Dragon, Fusion Dragon, and Xyz Dragon from your hand, deck, extra deck, or graveyard. And now we're on to the non-fusion. This is one of the few Pendulum decks that gets to play a lot of non-fusion. Playing 3 copies of Nubir, the Primal Being, 3 copies of Aslov and Joy Spring, 3 Droll and Leopard, 3 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, 3 Infinite Permanent, 1 Magnamut, 1 Moltarni Fula, 1 Crossout, 1 Spellbat. So for the Fula, I currently only have 1. I'm getting 2 more, but they haven't arrived yet. If you were to get the extra 2, you can choose what you want to play them over. And if you don't want to buy the Moltarni, you can play a Foolish Burial instead. Now then, we'll move on to the extra. Our extra deck, we are playing 1 copy of Grand Silk Cord Fulia. This card has 3 downward pointing arrows. It's 2 monsters, including Pendulum. It is an Omni Negate while you control Silk Cord, but we're actually not playing any. The important part about this card is that Pendulum monsters this card points to cannot have their effects negated. Playing 1 Exceed the Pendulum. This card requires 2 monsters, including a Pendulum monster. It gains attack for every Pendulum monster in your extra deck. On summon, it can add a Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. And then once per turn, you can fetch summon from your hand or graveyard a Pendulum monster between your scales. And that is a quick effect. Playing 1 Beyond the Pendulum. 2 monsters, including a Pendulum. On Link Summon, you can add a Pendulum monster from deck to hand by taking 12 points of life points. As well, when it does that effect, however, you cannot activate, or your card effects are negated until you Pendulum Summon. And then 2 monsters are summoned at the same time to the zones it points to, it destroys 2 cards on field. 1 SP Little Knight, 1 IP. A card you might know from Penfire, Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon. This card's pretty strong, and it's good in... You're not likely to rank against Penfire, but it's best to still have a out if you do. 1 Crystalline Synchro Dragon. The card exists to be summoned off the Supreme King. 1 copy of Ignister Prominence, the Blasting Draco Slayer. This card can destroy a card you control, and non-target spin a card on field into the deck. As well, once per turn, you can summon a Draco Slayer from your main deck. Playing 1 Typhon, 1 Odd Eyes Rebellion Xyz Dragon. This card is the card you're dumping to the graveyard off the Imperium Davidson. However, it can come up. You can summon it with 2 level 8, or 2 level 7. And it can destroy cards on field. Pretty good. 1 Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon. The effect of this card does not matter on field. However, if it's sent to graveyard, you can summon a Odd Eyes monster from your extra, and that's going to be Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, on set summon, can target a card your opponent controls, return it to hand, and once per turn, you can return a Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your main deck to negate and destroy a card effect in its activating. 2 copies of Batra, the Melodious Maestro. Requires 2 Melodious monsters. On summon, it summons a Melodious monster from your deck. And if it's sent to graveyard, you can summon a Melodious monster in your graveyard. As well, while it's on field, Melodious monster or Melodious fusion monsters cannot have their effects activations cannot be negated. We're playing 1 copy of ZARC. On summon, it destroys all cards your opponent controls. The rest of its effects do not matter. Now, I would like to note this before I even start the combos. As I mentioned earlier, Kulia says that Pendulum monsters it points to cannot be negated. So, if you summon Supreme King ZARC off of Soul of the Supreme King, if it is to a zone the Kulia points to, you can activate its effect to destroy all cards on your opponent's control, and Kulia will prevent it from being negated by the Soul of the Supreme King. It's very important. It's the strongest singular interaction on the set. Quickly go into the X deck, or to the side deck, just because it's kind of important. Playing 1 Magic Pegasus, the Draco Slayer. This is your sideboard target for the Blasting Draco Slayer. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a Draco Slayer, you can add a field spell and then discard a card. I'm playing 2 targets, Secret Village, if you're in a matchup where Secret Village is good, and then Zombie World against actually a lot of decks now. Because Zombie World turns off Malice's ability to play, because they aren't Cybers anymore. And then it also turns off Blue Eyes' ability to play, because they can no longer link off things like Sage or Maiden for Spirit with Ice Blue. 3 artifact Lancia, because Malice is going to be the best deck, as opposed to Alliance Insight. 2 Lightning Thorns, 1 Harpies, to deal with Acro. 3 evenly, and 3-dimensional. The free to tailor this die deck to what your local metagame looks like. Now it's time to do some combos. This deck is really nice just because it has a lot of different ways to get to the same combo, or ways to find specific parts of the combo, which will make sense in a moment. So let me just show you the easiest combo. Get all the so this is going to be your Ostinato. You need a 1-card Ostinato combo. You're going to activate the effect of Ostinato to perform a fusion summon. It's going to send 2 refrains from your deck to the graveyard. You're going to summon Boxer the Melodious Mitra. Recur effect, summon a Melodious from your deck. This will be your refrain. Refrain effect. You will add your couplet. You will trigger your couplet, and you will summon your refrain. From here, you will scale couplet and activate her effect. To add Concerta, you will activate Concerta and fuse both the refrain and the couplet. Scale to X. Summon the box. Because the fusion monster was summoned will deal with an extra, you can go chain link 1 refrain, chain link 2 couplet. These will set them in your pendulum field. You will now overlay your boxer and the other box for Auda's Absolute. You will now link Auda's Absolute and the remaining refrain on field for Beyond the Pendulum. Now this is where chain orders matter. You will go chain link 1 Beyond, you will pay 1200 to add a pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. Chain link 2 will be Boss's effect to summon a Melodious from your graveyard. Chain link 3 will be Absolute Dragon to summon a Auda's monster from your X deck. Chain link 4 will be Concerta, place it on the bottom of your deck and draw a card. I'm going to keep this Concerta face down in my hand as a way to represent the drawing card. Resolving the chain, you will summon from your X deck a copy of Vortex, and summon from graveyard your refrain. And then Beyond will search you from your deck to hand to Drinking Game Edition. Link off Beyond the Pendulum and the refrain for a copy of Couplet, and for a copy of Blue. And now you can perform the Pendulum Summon. You would like to keep 1 refrain in extra deck, so you will summon Speed. Now that Speed is in such summon, you can trigger her effect. Make her to the zone 2.26 can't get it. Then you will add your soul to the screen chain. From here, link off these 2 into a copy of IP Story. You will set your soul to the screen chain, and this is your angle. What the pen board does is it's an Omni Negate with your Vortex Dragon by returning a Pendulum monster from extra deck to main deck. And then the soul of the screen king can summon your ZARC from extract by paying half. Make sure you summon it to a zone C.2 and destroy all cards you're control. Next, if your opponent, say, activates a spell card, you can now go soul of the screen king, banish itself, and banish the ZARC, and summon from your extra deck a Crystal Wing and an Odd-Eyes Rebellion. Crystal Wing is a monster negate, and Rebellion is material for this Item Arena to link off with into an F2 Little Knight, which can of course target to banish a card your opponent controls, and then can banish itself from field to negate effect. This is all while at the end of the combo having 5 cards in hand. And let's get into the next combo. This combo is going to also start with the Melodious card, but import is significantly weaker. And it will be, of course, your 1 refrain combo. As you would expect, you normally summon your refrain and trigger the effect. Grab your couplet, the Melodious Songstress, and you scale your couplet. Trigger the effect to add Concerta from deck to hand. You will activate your Concerta to fuse off into a copy of this. Chain link 1, chain link 2, chain link 3. Yep. Of course, summon your 3rd or 2nd refrain. Now you activate refrain effect to target the boxer. This will let you send from deck to graveyard the 3rd refrain. You will now link these two monsters into a Beyond Penguin. Then we're going Beyond, channeling 2 Vodka, channeling 3 Inquisitor. We'll put yourself on the bottom to draw cards, and the Vodka will summon back a reprint. And here, it will still search for Gate Magician. Now, link into your Phantom Corculia, and you'll perform your Phantom Summon. So 1, 2, 3. Trigger the effect of experiencing Gate Magician. To add from deck to hand, resolve the screen pin, and link off these two for an SU bonus. For a ISMS random. Now, this combo is significantly weaker since you do not end on the Omni Negate. However, this board is still sufficient material to win game. Now then, what happens if you don't draw a Melodious Song? This will be the Crimson Gate Magician, and either card, and either itself. So this will be Crimson Gate Magician, Wings of Light, not get there. Another copy of itself, or Dark One. It's the same combo, but it's executed differently depending on which one you go. So I will quickly show you how to execute the combo with each one. How to get to the same step. Activate Gate Magician and destroy Gate Magician. This will let you place from your main deck this copy of Donut, trigger Gate Magician, then Rebellion, summon, and activate the effect. This will let you grab your normal Dark Worm and trigger the effect. This will let you grab your third Gate Magician. Link these two into a copy of Beyond the Pendulum. Trigger the effect of your Beyond the Pendulum. This will let you add from deck to hand the scale 8 Light Worm. Normal Light Worm, or normal scale Light Worm. And now you can Pendulum Summon. 1, 2, overlay first. Overlay these two. For a copy of Odd as Absolute. And then we will link both the Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon, the Supreme Gate Magician, and Beyond the Pendulum for Grand Silk Cord. And now you will trigger, of course, the effect of your Vortex Dragon, or of your Absolute Dragon summon Vortex. This end board is significantly weaker, and most likely you either end on this, which gives you more follow-up, or instead the Absolute Dragon can summon. Or instead you can link and keep Beyond the Pendulum on the field, and end on this board instead, by linking the Absolute Dragon and the This combo can be infused with any of those pre-listed cards, since they will all end in the same way. This deck is fairly redundant, and a lot of the cards do the same thing. It makes it easy to flip through singles and hand traps, but this deck does struggle with a lot of turn enders. So that's going to be your Roll Mockbird, your Skifter especially, but luckily it's at 1 now. If you go second, Anti-Spell can really hamper the deck really play. So it's really fun. If you are a fan of Yuya and the Odd Eyes Dragon, I would definitely check it out. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you